So today I'm going to be looking at the Vernee Mars Pro here. So this is a 6GB Helio P25 powered mobile phone. It's got 64GB of storage, a rear 13 megapixel camera, and a front 5 megapixel camera. And spec wise, it looks reasonable for the about 170 US price that it is. And I've had a lot of requests for me to review this one, so that is the reason why you're seeing it right here. You can see, yes, it came by DHL, and the typical kind of taxes I have to pay on things. So that was 33 euros on that one. So other specs of this one include a 3500 milliamp hour battery. It has a 1080p IPS screen on there with Gorilla Glass 3, Type-C port, and a Sony camera on the rear. So, you know, those specs do seem quite reasonable. So here's the phone. Put it aside for a second. It feels quite light. And we'll get into where we have the accessories. So rather large looking charger. That's an EU one, which is great for me, of course, because I live in Spain here. And that is rated to 12 volts, 1.5 amps. So that will support MediaTek's Pump Express. It's basically just quick charging is what it is. And then a white USB Type-C to USB cable. And I almost missed it, a SIM tool here, which is just under the cable. So it has a pre-applied screen protector on here, but before I get into detail looking at the build of it, we'll just check the weight. And it comes in at 163 grams. So the rear camera is a Sony IMX258, 13 megapixels. It has a dual tone LED flash. You can see we still have a 3.5mm headphone jack. They haven't made any silly design choices, Vernee, in removing that, at least not yet. You can see where the SIM tray is, so it will take either a micro SD card and SIM or dual SIMs. And then on the bottom, the loudspeaker, Type-C port, and microphone. And on the right side, metal volume buttons and the power button. These have a good feel to them, and they do not shake and rattle around, which is great. And just below it, a little hard to see here, is the fingerprint reader. So it's in a different location than what we're normally seeing on these budget MediaTek phones out of China. They normally have a front-facing fingerprint reader, or you get it on the rear. So good to see a little bit of a change here. And a quick look at the SIM tray. So it is made out of metal, the outer frame of it, so it shouldn't break. And here you can see that your micro SD card would go here, then a micro SIM, or you'd place a nano SIM and then micro SIM for dual SIM support. So up the front, a 5 megapixel camera for your selfie shots there, and the earpiece. So the build quality overall is excellent. I'm really quite impressed with it. There's no flaws that I can see, really well finished. So overall really good. Let's get this powered on. Now it should be running stock Android 7. And the setup has finished, so that's good. I'm just going to quickly lock it. And then unlock using that thumb reader. Oops, wants a PIN number first. Okay, now I'll try it. Lock, and then use my thumb. Okay, it's reasonably quick. Not the fastest just then. Okay, so it takes about 1 or 2 seconds to unlock, which isn't too bad. So my initial first impressions of this screen are looking really good. So it's an IPS display, very good, really nice. I do like the fact they've got slim bezels left and right. They're not actually that big at all when you have a look at them. They're probably approximately 4 or 5 millimeters. Now you will notice too that we are running stock Android on here, which is great. And also up the top, FM radio, because the Helio P25 does support FM radio. And the camera application almost looks like they are using too the stock Google one there instead of their own. So that'll be interesting. So have a look in settings very quickly, and we'll have a look. So Android 7.0. So it's not the latest Android ROM. The security patch level is from June the 5th. So a little bit dated now. Hopefully there's going to be an over-the-air update, and maybe that will increase the Android security patch level. But I'll check that out later on. So at the moment, the brightness is approximately 70%. Actually, it's even lower than that, looking quite bright, and that's full brightness now. So a bright display, and the lowest brightness setting dims down reasonably dim, so that'll be good for late night use, but ideally I'd like to see a little dimmer than this. So the phone's got approximately 53 gigabytes of free space. You can add a micro SD card if you wanted to increase that up to 256 gigabytes is supported. So I'm just checking for an update, and it's telling me, at least at the time of this review, that there are no over-the-air updates at this moment. Just finished up running Antutu benchmark here, so you can get an idea of the performance of it. So, I mean, it's not the fastest, 65,000. There are a lot of Snapdragon ones that are, of course, a lot faster than this, but you got to remember the price range. This is a budget mobile here, and it's not actually too bad. I've noticed that the UI, while we've got 6 gigabytes of RAM, you have around 4.5 free, and it is really quite quick and snappy. I have not seen any real lag or stutters yet. Probably because it's just such a stock launcher they're using. They haven't bogged it down with bloatware and their own customizations, which is really helping keeping things nice and smooth and fast. So it's quite a flat sounding loudspeaker, just the one speaker there, of course. There's no other front facing earpiece loudspeaker like we have on other phones. You won't get that in this price range. So it's reasonably loud. I wish it was a bit louder than that, but the problem is it's just quite tinny. So really not a very good loudspeaker on the Mars Pro, unfortunately. So I have one complaint so far with the design. They've got space down in the bottom bezel, you can see here, to have hardware navigation keys, yet they don't include that. They have not enabled that. We've only got the software ones, which is a shame. That space has gone to waste there. Now we'll look at the camera application we have here. So it's very basic. It's pretty much all you need. So tap to focus, shutter rate seems what I'd expect from this kind of mobile here. Now normally this is the Achilles heel. The weakness of all these kind of mobiles in this price range is their cameras tend to be very average. You know, then you're not going to get flagship photos, and nor would I expect that. But there is a difference between some of them that can take a decent photo and others really can't. But we'll have a look at some samples in just a second. So going over into the video mode, you can see we've got some options here, and if I click on that, we can just have a look through what we're able to enable here. So I've enabled this right here, which is the electronic image stabilization. This is normally disabled, but I've turned that on just to see what kind of impact that's going to have, whether it will help get rid of some of the treble you get on the video. And the video quality is maximum 4K, which is really good to see considering, again, the price of this mobile, because some of them skip on this and you only get 1080p maximum. So let's have a look at some samples now that I have taken in and around town. So the rear camera now shooting in 4K. Now I don't know whether this is a true 4K or upscaled from 1080p, which often happens with these cheaper mobile phones. They kind of cheat, don't they? So do have that electronic image stabilization enabled. So I wonder if that is helping at all. Focus looks to be like other MediaTeks that you have to use. Tap to focus. Yeah, I just focused on the grip stand of the scooter. Now looking at the viewfinder, it does look a little choppy and laggy, probably because of the EIS. I will, I think, disable that in the future. And this is the front-facing camera. It's in VGA only, so as you can see, the quality really isn't that good, because we just don't have that resolution that you'd want to capture more detail. So the Vernee Mars Pro for 160 US is shaping up to be a very decent phone considering what you get for the price. You're getting an excellent build quality. I can't fault it. There are no flaws. The fit and finish is really good. Metal buttons on there. Nothing feels cheap. We've got a Type-C port. And the screen, 1080p. It's covered with Gorilla Glass. Now, I'm a little disappointed the fact that they didn't decide to put some hardware menu buttons, even though they have the space for them on the bottom bezel. They decided that no, they've gone the cheaper option, maybe cost saving is why they've done this, on-screen navigation buttons, which is okay, but I prefer hardware me personally. So the weaknesses of this mobile so far are the loudspeaker. It's not particularly good. Reasonable volume, but it's just very flat. It doesn't sound that good. And you can't really expect it to be in this price range, I guess. Neither can you expect brilliant cameras. The front-facing camera will only shoot for 80p, so straight away that's not great. But there are other positives. For example, the ROM, it is okay, full of a lot of Google applications, but there is no what I would consider bloatware on here. So there's no Chinese strange applications that we need to uninstall and might not even be able to uninstall. It's really good that the ROM is light, so it's very responsive, it's fast, it's quick, and performance so far is looking good. So Antutu Score, okay, 65,000 is nothing amazing, but for a MediaTek Helio P25, that's kind of normal. So, but as long as the performance of it in real life is good, which is what it is so far, what I can tell. So audio quality, voice calls, battery life I will need to look into in greater detail to cover that. Thank you so much for watching this unboxing and preview of the Mars Pro. I hope to see you back in the channel soon. Bye for now.